Hey, it's Woz here with a new Hearthstone deck. This time the first one for Maw and Disorder, the mini set, with a deck that I couldn't resist doing once I saw due process being revealed. Druid is back in town, and it's actually pretty great compared to what I expected it to be. The idea basically is to use due process so your opponent will draw additional cards. Then, depending on what turn it actually is and how much mana you actually have, you then use Brand Bronzebeard in combination with the Ashen Elementals with a Zola if you really need to be able to OTK your opponent whenever they start their next following turn when they draw 4 cards. This should give you a maximum output of 48 damage if you aren't actually getting any additional copies of due process through the other cards you're running in this deck to actually get those copies. But if you can, then you can actually get an even higher damage output, which is quite insane and burn through most of your opponent's resources. For the Mulligan guide of this deck, it is very similar to what you would do in Ramp Druid, where you are looking for cards like Wildheart Guff, Jerry Rig Carpenter, Planted Evidence, Dozing Kelp Keeper, Aquatic Form, or even Moonlit Guidance to keep in your opening hand. Basically anything that will allow you to draw into your other ramping up cards or ramp cards themselves and give you some access to a few answers that you might actually need. And finally, the last 2 cards that I might keep in my opening hand are Theotar and Sire Denathrius. Sire Denathrius is only if you are in a very slow matchup, and you can actually risk having this in your opening hand. With that all being said, let's look at some games. Okay, time for a game against Warrior. Was this the game where it bugged out a little bit? Get 2 cards that are completely useless here too. I'm assuming this is going to be Control Warrior. Okay, so they put down their questline reward. We're going to play down the minion. Our 2 cards in hand. There's the Harbor's Camp. We can kill their minion as well, I guess. Get an additional mana crystal. Okay, so they played a minion. Actually, I guess they played 2 minions their turn. Game glitched out there for a second, which is why there's going to be a little bit of a missing turn, but I remember this game being really good, which is why I wanted to include it anyways. Okay, there's the Puffer Fister, or Puffer Fisher. I can never pronounce that card. I know what it is, but it just never goes in my mind. Okay, oh, Flipper Friends, okay. Let's use this to get rid of everything on board. Nice thing about Theotar being bugged in the earlier part of the day, people aren't actually running it too much right now. Looks like they're playing more of a control strategy to the questline. Just gonna draw 3. See what we can actually dredge from the bottom. Guff, we were never drawing into that. Another Deckhand. Cannoneer. Okay, hopefully not everything hits into our elemental, but it looks like something did, and there's a... Oh, they're actually going to attack into it. Of course, both hit there. And that's... When you need it to hit that, it will never do it for you, but whenever it's against you, it always happens. Just going to kill it anyways, then we can put down the Widow Bloom. Oh, getting Nourish as the card to top deck, not bad. Okay, Sanguine Depths. So they're going to be a little bit... Oh, huh. Now, part of me wants to keep Cornelius on the board, but that is 4 damage we'd be taking each individual turn. And knowing how the Ashen Elemental actually works, I don't actually want them to refill their hand that much. Let's use Gales of Onyxia. Killing everything here. We have the Sire in hand. And then we can use Nourish to gain 2 mana crystals. And then we can use a Carpenter to see if we can get anything, but I knew we weren't going to. Okay, so they're going to kill all of our minions, which is fine. We do have that Sire in hand. It's getting nice and juicy too. Let's just... can do it like this, I guess. Because I'm pretty sure we can kill both guaranteed. No, I guess we can't. We could use Theotar, give them a due process, and hope they use it. Talions might be the better choice, but I think To the Front might be a lot more funny if we choose it. Of course, we're not going to get anything cool or give them anything that we didn't want to give them. Okay, they're going to grab their Sire anyways. That's what I was trying to prevent. They're not going to get a minion there, though. And they're going to get a card draw. Well, our Sire is getting really, really big. It doesn't look like we'll... Okay, we can just drop the Sire next turn. I know it won't kill them, which is perfectly fine. If we top deck a Brand, though, we could kill them. Come on, Brand? No, second due process. Let's just use Sire Denathrius. Actually, I guess we'll draw a spell, see what we get. Let's go with Wrath. Let's not use that yet, then do it like this. Gives us another counter on the Sire. There's the Ashen Elemental. And before they can steal our Sire that we worked so hard to actually use, might as well use him. Probably not the best Sire in the world, but hey, a 10-10 that did 27 damage is pretty decent in my book. Especially when we're not actually trying to build him up. Okay, so they're going to get an Anchorman down. I'm assuming they have the Earth Scale still in hand that we did give them, so they're going to probably buff it up here. And they do. It doesn't kill the Sire this turn. But they do have the Execute to get rid of him now. And there goes our lethal. Well, let's use Moonlit Guidance. All these cards are horrible. There's not a single one of those cards that I wanted right now. Zola's actually pretty good. We're missing Bran, basically, at this point. Let's try to use as many cards as humanly possible here. Use School Teacher, see what we can get. Okay, a Wrath is pretty nice. Now, the Wrath isn't going to allow us to actually choose, but hopefully it'll only do 1 damage. Of course, it's the Kelp Keeper. Cards that will literally do nothing. We can't win with the Ashen yet, and we don't have enough. We could have actually probably won or get close to it with the Zola, and we burned the Jailer. Okay, that's a card that I wanted to see burned. I'll probably do something with the Jailer next week, or maybe the week after. It really just depends. I want to do something a little bit unique, though, with him. I might actually just keep doing meal decks, to be honest. Okay, they actually freeze our entire board. It's a really interesting version of Questline Warrior that we're facing. There's Bash. Okay, hand doesn't look horrible. Okay, there's the 2 Ashen Elementals. We don't have enough space for... Or do we? No, we don't. We might have had it before, but we definitely don't have it now. Well, I guess we would technically have it. We'll just rush into this. We can put down Prince Renathal. I think I'm being a little bit greedy with these, but it's fine. I'm assuming they have a pretty decent sized Sire in their hand right now. Okay, a Bran. Oh, Captain. Now, that's not going to do exactly what you want it to do. It's just going to clear out our board. Now, can we get another top deck of the century with a Bran? Nope, that's not Bran. That isn't, and there we go. Okay, so we need to be smart with this, because we can get rid of every single minion if we kill our minions in the right order. And now we're just gonna bronze our way to victory with a Ashen, Zola, 2 more Ashens to set them right on fire with all of the burn damage next turn. Pass it back and watch it go off. And voila, we win. Ooh, it's even going to rub it in their faces to see what they actually get. Okay, time for a game against Demon Hunter. I wonder which variant of Demon Hunter this is actually going to be. Ooh, I don't think I want to keep anything here except for maybe the Innovate, just so we have a 0-cost spell. That's never technically a bad idea. Of course, we get the second Ashen Elemental. Okay, so they're a 30-card deck. That's better for us. Now, do we want to innovate and coin The wild growth. I guess we didn't. That might have been actually a pretty good decision too. Oh, multi-strike. That's a little bit of a waste, but I'm not the one to judge, I guess. Jury rig. Let's actually do jury rig before anything else. Is knowing my luck, because I only have nourish in the deck, somehow I would find it in the 40 card pile. Okay, fell barrage. Really doesn't tell me what we're actually playing against. Second Ashen Elemental. Okay. We could use the coin and innovate to get the nourish out of our hand. It does also open up the possibilities of using the draw 3 if we do it like that in the following up turn. But wild growth is probably the better solution. Okay, magnifying glass. Okay, moonlit guidance, see what we get. Oh, I mean, we can get the second nourish, or the third nourish in this case. Then we can coin out to draw into the third one from our deck, and then just pass the turn back. Looks like they're using some of the self-draw cards, which is actually pretty good for us. Even though if we don't have enough mana to put down our combo, then we won't be able to win through that. Ooh, Iron Deep Trog. A Fossil Fanatic. Okay, so we have nothing in our hand. We're probably going to have to make the tough decision to give them a few extra minions. I think I can survive. Oh, there. Yep, that's exactly what we needed to see. Oh, due process is kind of funny too. I don't think we should use it this turn though. Thinking about using that Ashen Elemental, but I think Prince Renathal is probably our safest bet. Bell Barrage. There's the Battlesworn Battle Guard. Nice thing about that is it fills up the board from the Trogs. Oh, we're getting dangerously low though. Devour is actually a perfect top deck when we have this to feed into him instantly. We're going to kill all the cards that make them draw cards. And then we can just kill the last two. I think for a second I was thinking about using Earthen Scales to actually make one of our minions survive, but that doesn't kill both of them, and that's probably the better solution. Okay, so we're back into the position we were before. Luckily, we didn't have any minions for them to actually attack, so they don't get a bunch of minions here. Then we can actually kill those. This isn't going to be the biggest Earth Scales, but it will keep us alive for an additional turn. I think Miracle Growth is probably the safer bet. I know we aren't technically going to be able to draw into it this turn, but oh, that is going to be annoying. Okay, we have a 9/4 to deal with this turn. Let's get a Miracle Growth going. Let's see what we can get. Oh, Aquatic Form could be nice. Druid of the Reef actually helps us out a lot. Let's see what we can grab here. Living Root also helps us out a lot. Okay, okay. We're living. Okay, so... oh shit, I did not expect to see that card. I mean, in this scenario, it just draws them 5. And it actually made our Ashen Elementals worse. It is what it is. Okay, there's a Shark Form. Kill that instantly. We're going to want to draw cards, to be honest. As much as I hate to do it like this. Planted Evidence, okay. Due Process. Oh, Earthen Scales. That's pretty good. Keeps us alive for an additional turn. Let's attack into this. Could force them to actually hit our minion twice with 2 of their minions, but I'm worried that they have a way to actually deal with it. Let's just put down one of the Ashen Elementals, because if they use a card to draw a bunch of cards, this is probably our last opportunity to do so. That doesn't actually do anything. And they're going to draw 5. Okay. I don't know why you would do that, but it's fine by me. And we can actually start using the due process next turn too. Ooh, that's going to be a little bit worrisome. Locking out our middle of our hand. That's a really cool animation though. I really love the chains on the middle of the cards. Dozing Kelp Keeper. Actually pretty decent, because this will just let us keep going. Let's see what we can get. School Teacher, okay. I mean, Incarceration is normally a terrible card, but it does delay them from being able to do a little bit of extra damage this turn or next turn. And we're just going to go face because I have nothing else to do. I can't do much here. Oh, perfect. Just what we need. We can actually use due process to make them go into fatigue. And they're going to take a lot of fatigue, actually. Because the due process will trigger the Kelp Keeper. And then we can also use Ashen Elemental, I guess, too. Well, I guess if we're killing the 7/7, then we don't do that. But let's use due process, though. So, let's use Urgent Scales on the 4/4. That allows us to hit into this perfectly with our Ashen Elemental. And then kill the 5/4. Though I'm worried that I accidentally missed lethal there. It really depends on how much fatigue damage they're going to take. Oh, we did miss it by 1. At least they don't have any spells to actually do anything with that Lady Sinethid. Then we basically just win when we pass the turn back to them the following turn. Okay, time for a game against Hunter. Starting hand, not the worst in the world. Ooh, especially with Guff in the stove already in hand. Just going to get rid of Theotar. Theotar might have been actually pretty good to keep, though I didn't want to have 2 4-cost cards and a 5-cost card, and we got Scale of Onyxia instead, so that's actually even worse. Okay, so they are a 40-card deck. That makes this a little bit more challenging to do this, but we can still do it. Alright, just going to put down the 1/3 to protect our face a little bit. Getting the Ashen Elemental as an early card draw isn't technically what we want to see, especially with a bar watch post. That's going to be really, really annoying to actually deal with. We won't be able to deal with it for quite a few turns, so we're probably just going to go face. Second Ashen Elemental, and now it's a 4 cost. We're going to make whatever we draw into here cost additional mana, but that's still perfectly fine. We do have the Wild Heart Guff for next turn if we really, really need to use it. It also depends on what we actually top deck. Okay, so they're going to get something out of their deck to the top of their deck. Wild Growth. Okay, just going to use Wild Heart Guff here, probably. This will draw us an additional card. Sucks a little bit, but it's alright. Miracle Growth costing 9. I think this was also a game before I ended up cutting the second Miracle Growth for a Sire Denathrius. Oh, they actually just don't pull out anything from their deck, because I'm assuming they have everything else in their hand. We're just going to kill both minions here. Doesn't really feed into anything, since we don't have anything with Infuse in our hand. There's Tavish. Probably going to use Innovate just to check for Ice Trap. Oh, Planted Evidence. That's actually pretty good too. Wild Growth, why not? Gain a bunch of mana crystals. And then this is probably going to be explosive, and it is amazing. Even after the fact that they added an additional secret to the pool, it always is Explosive Trap. Okay, select a breeder. They do have 3 options. Oh, I'm assuming that Pet Collector doesn't bring out anything that is lower or higher than 5, which means the Shade Hound wouldn't fit under that. Okay, there's an imported Tarantula. That might be a little bit annoying. Ooh, what do we want to do? Let's draw 3 with Miracle Growth, see what we get. Earth and Scales, perfect. Just need to gain a little bit additional armor. Let's actually see what we can get here first. Well, let's go for Planted Evidence, why not? And then we can use this hero power to gain a mana crystal. Okay, there's the Mountain Bear. And of course, they're going to be able to use one of the poisonous minions into our minion. What do we want to do? See what we can get. Oh, due process. That's an additional copy right there. Using aquatic form because we don't have Sire in the deck yet. I think the 2 Jerry rigs do literally nothing, so might as well just keep them at the bottom of the deck. Let's gain 2 more mana. We're up to 17. Can use Wild Growth too. Gain an additional mana crystal. Now we're at 19. Then we're going to use due process so we can draw a card. Our hand is getting a little bit empty. That's why I wanted to use it now. Okay, they're going to draw 3. Man, I wish I played one of the Ashen Elementals. Alright, that's not going to do much. Okay, there's the kelp. Oh, second due process. It might actually be worth it to do or use both. And there's the Bran. Yeah, might as well. We have the mana. We have nothing else to do. So we might as well do it like this. And then we can use the Innovate that costs 1 to actually trigger this. And eat the 5/6. Get rid of one of their minions. And put up a taunt up. Of course that's going to do that. That's actually kind of funny that that doesn't trigger when you devour a minion. But okay, all we need is a Zola, and then we're in a really good position. Should be able to win actually from that position. Okay, they kill our minion. And we get the top deck of the century. There's Phelan. Yes, overextend with all the minions that you possibly can. I know you just don't want to burn anything, but that actually helps us out a lot. And there we go, the top deck of the century. All right, now we have Bran for 1, 2, and then 2 more. It's getting ashy in here. Then we can just pass the turn, and this should be enough damage, I think. And let's see what we can actually grab. School teacher, why not? And watch the fireworks go off. It's amazing. This only took 3 games to actually complete this. Alright, now that we're through the games, let's discuss my final thoughts of the deck. Overall, this deck actually shocked me of how well it turned out. I thought this deck was actually going to be a sub 30% win rate. However, I ended up with around a 45% win rate, which for a day 1 Theorycraft, that's actually not that bad. There's probably other ways you could build a deck similar to this, such as using Kazakhstan as a way to actually give you additional cards within your deck so you don't mill yourself out. Then you would want to use some more dragon support, such as Amalgam of the Deep, instead of things like Dozing Kelp Keeper and some of the mid-game tools, such as School Teacher. Though that would lower the possibility of you getting additional copies of due process, it might be a better idea in the end. I just didn't have enough time to test it out, but that's something to look out for. Honestly, this is one of those decks that, sure, it didn't have a above 50% win rate when I was actually playtesting the deck. However, I do really actually kind of want to recommend this deck. There isn't too much of a difference between this and some pre-existing Druid decks, and it's a deck that hasn't existed in Standard in quite a few years, and it's really fun to actually catch people off guard with a deck that most people aren't going to expect, especially with how consistent this actually felt like it was. The one warning I need to give is Ashen Elemental, though, will not actually do any damage when the card actually gets burnt, which is the one drawback of this, but because you are running a 40-card deck, a lot of the times against the aggro matchup or some other decks, you have just a base card advantage anyways, so you could actually win into the fatigue. And like always, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye-bye.